Hey guys, it's John, and I've been doing a lot of commissions lately and haven't really had a lot of time to work on anything for myself. But recently my friend Charles Blankenship sold me this Inoue Arts Atami Castle battle, Godzilla versus King Kong, and this is something I've wanted for a long time. And I started working on it just to do something for myself, and I thought, you know, I should have showed a video of part of this. And so what I did was I superficially put the Kong and the Godzilla together, and all I've done on the castle is a little bit of dremeling. I still have a lot of work to do on both these, but I got them to pretty much put together enough that I could know where the feet would be, and I would be able to start making the base. And as you can see, the base is rectangle. I don't really like rectangular bases or circle bases. I like them to look organic, but in this case you really have to, especially with such a big diorama, it's like 2 feet long, you have to think about what you have for space, and I'm already limited for space. And so I know a lot of you are thinking, well, why didn't I make a big huge diorama like that one in Japan? That one really has inspired and amazed me, and I'd love to do something like that. But like with that one, they customized it quite a bit, and they added to the castle and had several levels of it. And I don't have the time or the room to do that. So what I wanted to do was show you today what I did to start my base and make pins for my monsters. And the main thing I did, and I wish I would have showed you this maybe from the start, but I'm going to take Kong off. And you can see I have some pins. And what I did to set those pins was I put pins in the bottoms of the feet after I drilled holes for them. And then I set them where I wanted it in relationship to the castle and to Godzilla, which I did the same thing with him, to make sure that they'd be looking at each other and not too close or hitting the castle. And so what I did was I marked where the pins would be for the feet, and then I drilled right through and into the insulation foam here, and then I had a hole that went all the way through. Then I test fitted it by putting Kong back on there, and I did the same with Godzilla. Alright, so I could see that it was going to be pretty good like that. So then what I did was, you know, I'm taking everything off, and I didn't have the castle on at the time, and I didn't have this attached at all. You can also see that this base is very warped. It's thicker here though, and thinner here. So it's got quite a bit of warp to it, and I didn't think I could fix that other than to just pour Durham's water putty underneath it. So what I did was I had drawn a line all the way around where I wanted this to be, and then you know, I drilled my holes. So I picked it up, and I could see where the holes were drilled, and I took a bit like this on my Dremel, and I just reamed out in the material here kind of a circle, oh, about this big. And you know, the pin's quite a bit smaller, but about this big, so it'd have a spot for the Durhams to hold the pin. And so in each of these spots where all 4 of these pins would go, I made a hollow, and then when I got that done, I took my Durham's water putty and I made it kind of like a thin mix, and I laid it down on top of the surface where this was going to go. So I was within those lines that I drew, and I let the Durhams go into the holes primarily, and then as much as I could I just spread in that area where the square was. And so I didn't want to, if I would have had somebody help me, maybe I could have gotten that on video, but it's very time sensitive. The Durham's dries fast. So I wanted to pour it and then set this down, and I made sure that it was within the confines of the lines I drew, like that. And then I took and I put the pins down, and I pushed them down where I needed them to be, and they started setting. Before they set completely, I went ahead and put my monsters back on the pins, so that I knew for sure that once let's see if I can get them going here. So I knew for sure once that it dried, it would be able to come off and on. And as you can see, Godzilla got his tail up, he's leaning forward a little bit, and the same with Kong. He's got a position I want, and those pins are good and solid, and it's all good. So the next thing I did was I dremeled with my Dremel here. So if I turn this on, all I was trying to do there is make it kind of rough and look a little bit like rock. And I don't need to do a perfect job or anything, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of a texture. And then I'm going to put Durham's water putty up on top of this, and I'm going to let it go into underneath that crack. And I'm going to be taking all this stuff off so I don't mess anything up, because I want to be able to tilt it and work with it a little bit. And eventually I'm going to build this up so that it bevels down and just continues kind of a slope. And then I'll be able to plant trees in here or whatever I want to do on the outside of that, or I can drill holes into this for trees. I'm doing some research to see what the grounds look like and how much extra rubble I want to add or whatever. But I kind of like to find some cherry blossom trees, some sakura trees maybe, or something like that, to put on the diorama. I think that'd be a nice touch. And hopefully when I'm done with this, it'll look pretty cool. But I wanted to just give you guys an idea of what I was working on. And you know, this took a little bit of time, but I hope that it gave you some inspiration and helps you on your projects. Okay, well, next time I'll maybe have something more done that I can show you. Thanks for watching. Bye. So as I talked about last time, space can be prohibitive in light of what you do for a diorama. And though I would like to make a bigger diorama with a less geometric form, sometimes you have to make decisions just considering how much space you do have. And you might notice that the surface here looks a little different, and that's because I use this heat gun to melt the styrene just a little bit, and it gets rid of the little spots that are sticking up and things like that. And you just blow on the surface, and you can see it kind of shrink it a little bit. And I like to use that to prep it before I put Durham's water putty on. And so I'm probably going to be putting the Durham's water putty on in a couple different coats, and I'm going to mainly try to get it underneath first. That'll help bond this on there. It's bonded pretty well, but eventually I want it to be so there's no gap here at all, and you can't even tell that it all looks like one piece. And then I'll be able to put different things on it. If I wanted to like add something coming out or things like that, I could, but as I say, I'm going to hopefully put this on a shelf, and it's about as wide, or the distance here is about as wide as a shelf, or maybe even a little wider already, and it's already going to take out at least 2 feet. And when you add Godzilla's tail, it's going to extend beyond that. Maybe it might even take 3 feet of space on a shelf. So I may end up having to just put it on the floor at my house. And also got to consider, if I ever was to sell it, is it shippable? And if I was to leave the monsters just pinned and not glued on, this wouldn't be so hard to ship with the castle on it as it would be if I had them on there. But if I was to make this diorama really big, no way I could ship it. So I just got to keep that in mind. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of give a quick update before I start putting on the Durham's water putty. And after I've done that, I'll show you how it went. All right. Thanks. Bye. Okay, guys, I've got another update for you on what I've been doing on the base. I just finished using Durham's water putty to coat my foam again. The texturing is not complete, and I have not finished everything I'm going to do, but I did get the foam coated with a couple coats, so it should be pretty good to go as far as strength once this dries. And so I can paint it, and it'll be like one piece instead of just the surface here. And this is the Durham's water putty over here. I just take my spoon, put it in a yogurt cup like you see back there, and take one of my old paint brushes, stir it up. I put about maybe 4 scoops, then I just put enough water to wet it up, probably a third water to the Durham's water putty powder. And then it's kind of runny at first, but I stir it good, and then I just start applying it on. And this time I had, this last coat I put on, I went around the edges first. I just turned it to its side, made sure I got the edges and a little bit underneath. And then I would do the sides, and then I turned it the other way. Of course, I didn't have any of this stuff on top, so I could handle this without the components. And then as it started getting thicker, I went ahead and just kind of put more on this edge here so that I could bevel this a little bit. Now the next thing I'll probably do is use some modeling paste with a little bit of stucco texture to it, and I'll fill in some cracks in different spots like the hole there, and just try to get it to look a little better. I kind of like to match the kind of texture I have here, but again I want to study what the grounds would have looked like and see what I can do, maybe add trees and stuff. But anyway, quick update on that, and until next time, we'll see you again. Hey guys, it's John. In putting together a work in progress video of the Inoue Arts Atami Castle battle from Godzilla versus King Kong, I was pleasantly surprised to see this super deformed Kong in a prone position came with it, and so I painted it up yesterday real quickly, and just finished glossing the eyes and the mouth a little bit, and wanted to show it to you as part of that video where I'm going to be talking about the progress I got so far on that Inoue Arts Castle diorama, because I thought this would be a good one to share some things about the how I put the base together on that. So this is pretty small. It's maybe a little bit larger than my thumb, and I don't got that big of a thumb. You can see there, that's about how big it is. And so it makes it a little bit of a challenge to paint the little things like teeth, but I think it's really awesome. Very nice casting. I don't think the original Inoue Arts kit had this, the one that came out years ago, but Dimos, I think, put out about 10 more of these and casted them, and I think this came along with it. It'd be cool if there was a Godzilla that came along too. Or maybe some of them had a Godzilla and some had Kong, I don't know. It's just speculating. But I'm sure not too many people have this, and so I'm pretty excited to have it. So anyway, I wanted to show this to you, and I hope you enjoy the video.